We need a pot, we need something that can produce heat, some fire. We need a plastic spatula or wooden spoon, a baking tray, or a muffin tin with little paper cups. And that's about it for the equipment. And then for the ingredients, you will need 1/3 cup of unsalted butter, 10 ounces of marshmallows. We're using the small marshmallows, they're going to melt quicker in the recipe and it's going to give the final product a smoother, glossier finish. 4 tablespoons of cocoa powder, 4 ounces of milk chocolate, eating chocolate. We don't want to be using cooking chocolate for this recipe. Your favourite plain chocolate bar would be great. If you prefer dark chocolate, you can definitely swap it out for that. And then 4 to 5 cups of cereal. We're using Rice Crispies. You can use cornflakes if you like. When we were younger, I remember we used to do this with cornflakes. I've changed the recipe a little bit from when I was younger, but not a great deal. So, first thing is, let's get some heat under our fire, under our pan even. Some fire under our pan. And we're going to add the butter immediately. We just want to melt the butter. We don't want it to sizzle, we don't want it to brown, we just want to gently melt it, so we'll keep an eye on the heat. While we're waiting for that to melt a little, we're going to take some spray, oil. You could also take a stick of butter. We just need to lightly grease the tray, and we're going to then put our treats in afterwards. So that's that done. Butter's starting to melt. Just going to start to help to mix it around a little. Once you have one layer of melted butter on the bottom, we can then add our marshmallows directly into it. If we didn't let the butter melt first, the marshmallows would just stick all the way around the pan and it would be a nightmare. So straight in, all of the marshmallows, keeping an eye on that heat. We don't want it to be too hot. We're just gently melting all of this together. So we'll coat all those marshmallows in a little bit of butter. And then once all of the butter is melted, we can then add our cocoa powder directly into it. Get all of that out. So the reason we want to use a plastic spatula or wooden spoon is that if we were to use metal in here, once we add our Rice Krispies or our cornflakes or whichever cereal you decide, it would end up just breaking all of the cereal up, which we don't want. We want to gently be folding, which we can't really do with a metal spoon. So keep mixing that, keeping an eye on your heat. We also need to make sure when you're mixing it that there's no chocolate from the chocolate powder that's sticking to the bottom of your pan. You want to keep mixing it and folding it. And then I'm going to bring this up closer to the camera. We're only going to know if that works afterwards. You guys can let me know in the comments. So you can see here we have it's all kind of melted together. There's a little bit of marshmallow left unmelted, but it's about 80% there, I would say. And then at this point is when we can put all of our chocolate in. I've just broken it into the natural squares. You don't need to cut it up too small. It will melt. And then we're going to keep folding that with our added chocolate. As I mentioned already before, if you want to use dark chocolate, you can definitely do that. The beauty of cooking is that we can alter it to our tastes, our needs and our tastes. Okay, so keep mixing that, making sure nothing's sticking to the bottom of the pan. We don't want it to catch. And then once all of the chocolate has melted, let's try and do our own close-up again, shall we? Once it's all melted together and you have this beautiful smooth mixture, we can turn the heat off, and the residual heat from the pan is going to keep that melted. And we're going to start to add our cereal. I said 4 to 5 cups, but we're going to start by adding 3 cups to begin with. 3.5. And then we're going to gently fold the cereal with our mixture, trying not to break it up too much. And we want to coat all of the cereal in the chocolate marshmallow mixture. Once you've made it once and you think that you prefer to have it a little gooier, you would add less cereal. And then the same the other way, if you prefer to have it a little crunchier, less gooey, you could add more cereal. Okay, and once that's all been incorporated, we're going to take our baking sheet and we're going to put this. My baking sheet's a little bit too big. This recipe is good for an 8 by 8 inch or 9 by 9 inch tray. Mine's 8 by 12, I think. So I'm just going to cover about a third of it. And then what you can do, let me just move this so you can see better probably. I'm just going to carefully with the back of the spatula just work it into the corners, pushing it down a little bit but not crushing it. Taking my time. And then using the side like that, I can start to shape it into more of a bar shape. Into the corners. And then we've greased it, so it's going to come out easy afterwards once we want to cut it. And then that can be cooled at room temperature. Or, if your kids are in a rush, you can put it directly in the fridge for 5-10 minutes. It really doesn't take long at all. And then I'm going to show you with the muffin tins. We're going to fill up these tins. First of all, I'm going to take the spray. I'm going to put a little bit just on my tips of my fingers. And I'm also going to take a spoon, just a regular spoon. I'm going to spray the spoon. And then I'm going to fill up these cups. Like this. And then the reason I put it on the tips of my fingers too is I don't want all this chocolate to stick to them. And then just carefully push that down. Comes off the spoon easily too because we just greased it up. If you are going to be making this with kids, just make sure that this mixture has cooled enough for your kids to be able to touch it, because it does stay hot for a little bit of time. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take some, I got some mini eggs, and we're just going to put them on top. So it's like a little nest. Bring that over to you guys so you can see it. So just like a little nest like that, which is another way to do it. So you can do it like that in a muffin tin. You can do it like I showed you on the square tray to make a bar. And then what I also did before is I made one in a pie pan. So exactly the same thing. I sprayed it, I took the mixture, I gently flattened it out, and then now hopefully with a spatula it should easily come out. And then we can cut that into whatever shape we want. So I get a nice sharp knife, I'm going to cut it in half, and then the half in half, the halves that are in half. So we have little wedges. And then over here I've just started to make a little board to show you guys a couple of different ways that you can cut these for parties in the future. Or just at home for now. So we've got our little like Rice Crispy pie pieces. And then what I also did actually on these too, got to mention, is that I sprinkled, after I gently pushed it into the pie pan, I then took some hundreds and thousands and I just sprinkled them on top, as you can see. So you can jazz them up a little bit afterwards, you know, we always want to do a little extra. And then this is the rectangular one that we just did. So hopefully the same thing, just using a palette knife or spatula, should just come out. And then with this one here, we're going to cut little squares. And then this can be stored in the freezer, in the fridge, room temperature for a couple of days. And it cuts really easily too. You have a nice sharp knife. That and that. And here we have our Rice Crispy treats. In muffin tins with mini eggs, pie pan with hundreds and thousands, like little sprinkles, and then just in our bars. They could also be individually wrapped in saran wrap, put in Ziplocs and frozen into portions. So whenever you need a treat, you can just put it out of the fridge or the freezer. So thanks again for watching the video. Any comments below for lighting or the sound quality and things like that would be appreciated. So moving forward, the videos can be better for you guys. If there's some recipes that you would like us to share with you in the future, that would be great. Also, if you do decide to make it, please tag us, let us know. We look forward to seeing what you guys do as well. And that's it. Our next video is going to be we're going to make a banana bread together. You have all the ingredients beneath this video that you need. I'm going to grab the camera now and do a little close up just so you guys can see a little bit closer. And that's it. Happy cooking, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy. Look forward to seeing you guys all again soon.